When you don't forgive, there are a few more things about forgiveness. Really, the info is still that story of the unjust servant, the unmerciful servant. When you don't forgive, you don't move on. To forgive is to move on, and forgiveness is that place whereby you don't, in your heart of hearts, you do not wish something evil, something bad happen to a person that offended you, that caused you pain, that wronged you. That place where you get to a place where you're okay. If they prosper, you're okay, that it is well with them. That place where you're okay, like you are at peace with them, within yourself. You truly don't wish they be punished on account of a wrong you suffered because of them. That's really forgiveness, you know. I mean, isn't that literally the definition of when God forgives us? He doesn't desire that bad stuff happen to us. In fact, when we are truly repentant, and we yield ourselves to being transformed by the renewal of our minds, which is the ministry of the word, in partnership with the Holy Spirit, and our yieldedness, our obedience, we find ourselves manifesting a life that is not even worthy of the sinner that we were once upon a time, you know. So that's really forgiveness, that place where you are at peace. You don't really, the key thing is you don't wish bad stuff happens to a person. You don't hope for punishment or wickedness to happen to them. That's truly forgiveness. To forgive is to move on. Look at the unmerciful servant. When he was forgiven, you know, when he himself was forgiven, life in that moment truly ought to have moved on. But he ended up literally taking himself backwards when he encountered somebody that needed that very forgiveness and he didn't forgive. So in that way, he took himself backwards. He took his life backwards. He attracted judgment, you know. So he ended up suffering judgment. To forgive is to move on. That when we don't forgive, you know, unforgiveness is really the opposite of forgiveness. Unforgiveness is that place where you're hoping something evil, something bad happens to somebody. And if you've got the heart for it, you actively make sure that something bad, like you actively enact, strategize, do stuff that can cause something wicked, something bad ending up happening to somebody. That's really unforgiveness. When unforgiveness takes root in us, it sprouts and bears fruit of bitterness, strife, contention, and vengefulness. You know, you're just vengeful every time you see this person. You feel all sorts of negative emotions because that's what you have allowed to take root by opening that door of unforgiveness, just yielding yourself to that place. You know, it takes energy, it takes strength to be unforgiving. It also takes energy, takes strength to be forgiving, to yield yourself to forgiveness. And yet forgiveness leads us into a place of peace, a place of liberty, a place of just freedom. You know, there are things that you have suffered, wrongs that you have suffered, and God has told you to forgive, and you did forgive. And let me tell you, your children will be part of the partakers of the fruit of walking in that forgiveness. Perhaps maybe they will err in a way that they will end up receiving of that harvest of mercy